I want to introduce one of my very favorite people in the whole world, one of my very best friends of almost 20 years, a leader in our community, a man that we all owe a great deal, Mr. Ray Hill.
You remember me. I was the guy that went to New York and told Ed Koch to stay in the closet so we could have this celebration. I've been rehearsing these lines for about 40 years. Those of you who have been with me all that time, and this audience has got many examples of people who were in the very beginning organizing. Let us remember that I wish that Gary Van Ottingham could be with us tonight. I wish that Papa Bear Rita Wanstrom could be with us tonight. I wish that Betty Boop, Brenda Thomas could be with us tonight, and so many, many more. We have struggled as no other people similarly situated in history have struggled. And we have seen the ugly side of hate and bitterness and violence, and we have lived in fear. So instead of talking about that trail, I want to talk about our individual trails. Do you remember, guys, when you were trying to be very careful and not get knocked off for checking out the good-looking guys in the gym? And then you noticed the coach was, but you were thankful his tastes were a little different from yours. Do you remember, sisters, when you were checking out the strong women in the library and the gym, including the coach? And that's what being gay and lesbian meant, and heaven knows being transgendered meant a whole cacophony of problems that those people didn't even understand. And then it came time to look around and see if you could find a career where your education would be worth something and your experience wouldn't be stolen from you if somebody found out. Remember those years? And then you matured enough and you looked around and you said, how do I form a relationship with a person in a society where there is little trust and almost no hope? Do you remember those years? Do you remember being isolated and alone and fearful? And then something happened. On June the 16th, 1977, Anita Bryant came to Houston, and we gathered about this time at the Depository 2, and we went down to welcome her. How many people in this audience were on that march? Talk to those people, because that night the term gay community ceased to mean the part of town where the bars were, and began to describe a group of people with common goals and common aspirations. And we went to work, and like a snowball rolling downhill, we gathered first one snowflake, then another, and then a rush. And about a decade later, some of us began to figure out that we could perhaps join that struggle more successfully if we held public office, and some of us begin to seek that public office. The first to succeed you will meet shortly after I get through speaking. And she has been there in the trenches and behind the curtain all these years. We're fixing to go into a period of time that we will call the Parker administration, but let me tell you something. We haven't struggled this long and this hard to expect someone to finish the job for us. If you want Houston to be that bright city on the Texas Gulf Coast, noticeable around the world, then you will help Houston manifest its greatness potential. And the way you do that is you don't depend on Annise doing it. You don't depend on Sue doing it. You don't depend on other people around council chambers. You do it. The high mark of Athens was known as the Pericles era. And the Pericles didn't do that. Athenians did that. There should not be a senior citizen in this city, much less in your own neighborhood, that lives in isolation and fear. And there should not be a child struggling with education, fixing to drop out without your help of tutelage. You do that, and you do that beginning today. I would like to bring my friend Steve Kirkland to the stand. Steve is the first openly gay elected judge in Harris County. I understand you do swearing-ins
Yes.
and weddings.
And weddings.
With or without license?
No, gotta have the license.
Okay.
Gotta
Just
have the
checking.
license. Yes. Actually, if I were going to do weddings without a license, there is one wedding that I would love to do.
Okay.
And that is my friend Kathy Hubbard's wedding.
Yeah.
I had the good fortune to be in Annise and Kathy's house the night that Annise proposed to Kathy.
Oh.
And I gotta tell you, it was one of the most touching and memorable moments that I've experienced in my long history with my two dear friends, Kathy and Annise. Annise got down on her knees, took Kathy's hand, and said, "Will you live with me forever?" Needless to say, Kathy said yes. She did it, she squealed actually, and said, "Yes, yes, yes!" My friend Kathy Hubbard, we don't do these things together, alone. We, of course, the candidate gets out there and does it personal, every day, constantly pushing, out there meeting folks. But when we go home at night, we have to have someone who is there to keep us sane, to keep us humble, and to remind us who we are, and to keep us grounded. And Kathy has done that role for Annise for over 17 years. And I have been fortunate to witness that over all of those time. And she's done it with such grace and aplomb. And she always brings just the right amount of finesse to all of our projects, including campaigns. So I wanted to take this moment, thank you, Ray, to let you all know that not only do we have a new mayor in town, but we have a new first lady. Her name is Kathy Hubbard. Now, she was speechless that night after she squealed too. But I was actually speechless that night, and I was asked to propose a toast at the engagement of Kathy and Annise, and I didn't make it that night because I was speechless, and so I'm going to make it tonight. To my friend, Kathy Hubbard, you have made my friend Annise Parker so happy over the years, and you have made her the strong, loving, generous woman that I know and love, and I thank you for that. Thank you for doing that. To my friend Annise Parker, I have seen the light in your eyes when Kathy comes in the room. I've seen the light in your eyes when Kathy joined your life, and I am grateful that you have chosen to share that light with me, with my friend Kathy Hubbard. So I thank a toast to both of you. Now, we have, Ray and I together, huh?
They have Mark.
Oh, yes. Where's the love of my life?
Marcos?
Mark, honey, where are you?
Mark.
Raise your hand. All right, he's shy, holding up the wall somewhere.
Right.
But as I said, we don't do these things alone. We have to have someone. My love, my partner is here as well. Mark is around. We're not alone, and neither are you. Now, we go through these things, as I said, together. We get to introduce Annise now.
Well, first I want to recognize the presence of a former champion of the caucus. Kathy Whitmire is in the audience. And I want to remember that great cause. We had to go through there to get here.
We did. We had to learn how
To elect
do
a
these
woman.
things. We did. We had to learn how to elect a woman. And Houston is no stranger to making history with our mayor's races. And Kathy Whitmire showed us that. Kathy Whitmire actually was one of the ones that inspired me to get into politics, and I know many of the folks here were inspired the same way.
She's being a little shy tonight. I found that out earlier. But she is present and proud to be here, and a small company of friends are going for dinner afterwards. But now it is time for Steve and I to say that, you know, gay and lesbian, transgender people give a lot to the city in a lot of different ways. We give our talents and our art. Most of the graphics you see come from one of our pens. A lot of the wisdom you read about is written by our other pens. But when it comes for tonight, tomorrow, and perhaps part of yesterday, you were there, we have the very best. We did not elect Annise Parker to be the first lesbian mayor of Houston. We gave our best to the city, electing Annise Parker to be the mayor of the city of Houston.
We love this city. Thank you. I am more excited than you can imagine, more proud than you will ever know to be the second woman mayor of Houston, the second city council member to ever become mayor of Houston, the second city controller to become mayor of Houston, and the first gay or lesbian mayor of a major American city. Yesterday, my dear friend Judge Kirkland, who actually represents more people than I do, but not that we're counting, Judge Kirkland swore me in a private ceremony with Kathy by my side and my family present. Wow. I am ready for the job of mayor. Amen. And tomorrow morning, we will have the public inauguration, the public ceremony, and I will be sworn in again for the cameras. But tonight is about our community, not about the city of Houston. I have been asked over and over again how I feel about being a role model for the GLBT community. I have, I believe, been a role model for my community for more than 30 years. because I've been an out activist for more than 30 years. It's part of who I am, it's part of my public persona, it's part of why I was able to run successfully for mayor of Houston. Because a campaign, a successful campaign, is about touching people on a personal level, gaining their trust, making a connection with voters so that they will in turn support you and move you into office. And part of that connection that I made with voters, and part of the compact that I have had with voters over the years, is that I will always tell them the truth. Now, on about 4 hours of sleep on the Sunday after the election, I had a long interview for the media. And I don't know that I said it so eloquently, but I said, I'm going to be the mean mom who tells you you have to eat your vegetables and you can't have any dessert this year. And that was focusing on the budget of the city of Houston. But I also want to tell Houstonians and the world about the city that I love. This is my hometown. Some more of you out there. I was born a few blocks away at St. Joseph's Hospital. Both my parents were born here as well. This is my home, this is our home, and it is a great city. And I have been so grateful to the opportunity in the national and international media to talk about Houston. Now, there was a split in the media. About half of the guys who talked to me, and I use guys generically, please, but half the folks who talked to me said, you have to. About half the folks who talked to me said, Houston elected a lesbian mayor. And the other half said, Houston did that? We are a wonderful, warm, welcoming, open city. And if my election can help me spread that message to the world, I am grateful for the opportunity, and I will take every opportunity to do that. Now, I have been in something of a media bubble over the last 3 weeks. I know that I've been on the outgoing side of a lot of these interviews. I really haven't had an opportunity to see any of the coverage, to experience it. I do understand that I made the Daily Show, and hell froze over in Houston. And I guess I was a joke on the Jay Leno show, so I have really made it in the world.
That's when you know you've made it.
Letterman's next. I appreciated getting a personal phone call from the President of the United States. Now, it is a little embarrassing that I didn't actually answer the phone call. But I have a really cool voicemail. And I'm doing my best not to erase it from my cell phone for a very long time. But even more important than the phone call from the president, and he offered nice, warm congratulations, is the calls that I have received from GLBT media outlets all around the world, from the Basque Country of Spain, from Melbourne, from Japan, actually from all over Europe, from several countries in Central America and South America, wanting to share with their viewers, their listeners, my election and what it might mean for them. We are blessed to live in the United States of America. never forget that we are blessed to be Americans. And even though we often feel that our lot is not fair, that we are frustrated at the pace of change, that there is so much more we want to achieve. And even though sometimes we hang our heads after another referendum battle on marriage, we may lose battles, we will win the war, and we are winning the war. But there are too many people in too many countries in the world who don't worry about referendum battles. They worry about their lives. They worry about being murdered on the streets or murdered officially in the prisons with or without judicial sanction. There are too many people in the world who don't have the privileges that we have. And if by my election and the media coverage and the dialogue around that, we can change one person's life in one of those countries, it would make everything worth it. Now, I am honored to be the mayor of Houston. I am grateful to be standing here with my life partner, and actually on January the 16th will be our 19th. That was going to say our 19th anniversary. And on April the 20th, the 20th anniversary of our first date. Although she thought it was a date, I didn't. But y'all know how that is. Honored to be standing here with my life partner. But most importantly, just thrilled to share this night with all of you. Thank you very much. Here, come on up. Can you stand up here?